Okay, Trump's insistence on using the judge's heritage as a sign of bias was not well received.
Really? Wait. By members of the Republican? I don't understand.
they're
Nicole,
surprised.
how could they have seen this coming? Oh, wait, he said it last week.
Now, can I just do a poll?
Paul Ryan endorsed him.
Can I just do a poll, Nicole? Is that racism?
Yes.
Okay, Joe.
Completely racist.
Is that racism?
It's completely racist. Here you have a guy that is from Indiana.
Yeah.
From Indiana. I think his family, if I'm not mistaken, had been in the country of America longer than Trump's grandmother.
Reverend, now, is that racism?
Oh, it's absolutely unequivocally
checking.
racist.
So the Republican Party, my Republican Party now, is racing behind and endorsing a man who says that if you're Mexican or if
Not Mexican,
if
it's American.
If you're born in America, if you're from Indiana, but you may have a little bit of Mexican heritage in you.
I don't even think he's first generation.
No, he's not.
It doesn't matter.
He's not. That you are incapable of being fair as a judge. He also said the same of Muslims, Republicans.
Good on you.
Really, good on you. You're endorsing this guy?
So,
seriously?
Joe?
The Republicans are denouncing this because they think it's horrible politics, right? Short-term and long-term. They also are morally outraged, as they should be, to say that a judge whose parents came from Mexico, to say that a Muslim judge, and the stupidity of it is compounded by the fact that he's arguing something having to do with
a personal case. Hold on a second. Let me I just want to be really clear here.
Please.
Now, they can't be morally outraged this week when they knew what he was doing last week. And by the way, I said it here on the TV box. And you can check it out on the TV box. I said all the way back in December, I would never endorse Donald Trump so long as he supported banning 1.4 million people from entering the last best hope for a dying world, the United States of America, simply because of the God they worship, simply because they were Muslim. That has been out on the table while every Republican has endorsed this man. And I said, and I have stuck to it, I will never endorse Donald Trump so long as he supports a Muslim ban. I've said it clearly. Now listen, I predicted, and Mika predicted, that the guy was going to win the nomination. Pissed a lot of people off because we were right and they were wrong. And they said, oh, you must be supporting him. No, I've always been clear. Said I would never support a man. I also said what he said about David Duke was disqualifying. Wrote it in the Washington Post. So these Republicans this week who were so shocked and stunned and deeply saddened and offended by this clear act of racism had all the evidence in the world before that he had done things that, again, stopped them from endorsing him. How do you endorse Paul Ryan, a man that supports the banning of 1.4 billion Muslims from ever entering the United States of America? You make him back down, actually. That's what I was hoping, that perhaps we could put pressure on him to back down and change that policy. Instead, Al, he's doubled down, and now it's people that may have, what is it, 1/16 Mexican blood? If you got 1/16 Mexican blood, then maybe you can't be a judge. 1/16 Muslim blood? I mean, this is unbelievable. He is getting worse, not better.
What the problem is, and which is why your position was so responsible for the party, even though I'm sure people in the Republican Party thought you were selling out when you would say that, is that you're talking about nominating him to be the president who will appoint federal judges. Not only are you dealing with his own bias, you're saying he ought to be appointing judges and senators that are running on his ticket who vote on confirming judges. I mean, the ramifications of this, that now we have a racist litmus test for who can be judges, and you're endorsing this, and you're running for re-election, or you're running for the Senate. I mean, this is amazing ramifications.
Has just put the House of Representatives in play.
That's right.
He cannot say, oh, well, Donald Trump's Donald Trump. Donald Trump's Mexicans. Paul Ryan endorses his racism against Americans who may have oh, I don't know, 1/16 Mexican blood in there, saying they're disqualified to be judges.
But, Joe, here's Paul Ryan. Now he's pretending to be, and I'm going to go there and just say it. There's no other way to put it. He is pretending to be surprised about this, and then listen to Mitch McConnell when he's asked a simple question that I just asked on the set. Is this racism? Take a look.
Look, the comment about the judge the other day just was out of left field from my mind. It's reasoning I don't relate to. I completely disagree with the thinking behind that. And so he clearly says and does things I don't agree with. And I've had to speak up on time to time when that has occurred, and I'll continue to do that if that's necessary. I hope it's not.
This is one of the worst mistakes Trump has made. And I think it's inexcusable. This judge was born in Indiana. He is an American, period. When you come to America, you get to become an American. And Trump, who has grandparents who came to the U.S., should understand this as much as anybody. If a liberal were to attack Justice Clarence Thomas on the grounds that he's black, we would all go crazy. Every conservative would say it was wrong, and it was racism.
He has essentially said he cannot be impartial because he's Hispanic. Is that not a racist statement?
Yeah, I couldn't disagree more with a statement like that.
Is it a racist statement?
I couldn't disagree more with what he had to say.
Okay, but do you think it's a racist statement to say?
I don't agree with what he had to say.
It's a racist statement.
What's wrong with him?
That's a racist statement.
Can't answer anything here on the set.
Mark
Can't answer
Halperin,
anything on
Newt
the press.
Gingrich came out and
What's wrong with
actually
him?
hammered him.
A guy who wants to be on the ticket publicly went out. This is one of the, in the history of the country, it is one of the most un-American and bigoted things that anyone has said, and that is why he's being denounced by everyone. The Wall Street Journal editorial page. Newt Gingrich, who has a history of saying divisive things. Trump may think this is a brilliant way to triangulate or something, but it is so wrong that he is being condemned across the board. I think these Republicans hoped that somehow when he became the presumptive nominee that he would change his ways and move more towards the center. To say these things about a judge, an actual judge, and then a hypothetical Muslim judge, when there's no political upside to it whatsoever, is astounding. And they're as upset by the political absurdity of it as they are by how horrible the things he said are. It's un-American for what he said, and if he doesn't change it quick, I think a lot of the donors are going to give up on it.
Well, I think also Paul Ryan has to back off.
Just take it back.
For instance,
anything goes.
Paul Ryan said this was out of left field. No, it wasn't out of left field. Paul Ryan held a press conference saying how upset he was that Donald Trump was so bigoted towards Muslims that he was going to ban 1.4 billion Muslims from entering the United States of America. Donald Trump called this guy a Mexican and said he might be disqualified from handling the case fairly before Paul Ryan endorsed him.
Right. Listen, Donald Trump has gone sort of beyond the line with a lot of groups, and so he's called women fat pigs and then blackballed Megyn Kelly for asking about it. He called, said Muslims were a threat, banned them for 6 months. I mean, you're going to end up with very few groups of people that a President Trump would deal with. There are very few groups left to insult.
Well,
very few
or
groups.
you can just go back and run over them again and have people like Paul Ryan just sit there and watch. Donald Trump's blunt manner of speaking raised a few eyebrows on the trail. We got to get to Hillary Clinton at some point. But he called out a supporter at his rally Friday. Take a look.
We had a case where we had an African-American guy who was a fan of mine. Great fan, great guy. In fact, I want to find out what's going on with him. You know what I'm... look at my African-American over here. Look at him.
NBC...
Oh. Just let that breathe for a second. Look.
I can't. I need to move on. I'm nervous.
No.
I'm uncomfortable.
Al Sharpton.
Yeah. I'm uncomfortable.
Al Sharpton. What did Donald Trump just say?
Look at my African American over there. This is the guy the Republican Party says should be in charge of the government of the United States and the armed services. to appoint judges, Supreme Court judge. This is the guy. Look at my African American over there. While the Mexican judge, who is not Mexican, he's Indianan, can't be.
He's a Hoosier, for God's sake.
Damn.
He's a Hoosier.
While he can't be fair to judges. This is who you want to be in charge of the judiciary in terms of making nominations.
I remember Ross Perot getting in trouble.
I
remember Ross Perot getting in trouble in 1992 for saying to the NAACP, "You people, you people." Now, this is even worse.
Okay, so NBC News later spoke to the man in the audience, Gregory Cheadle, a candidate for Congress, who said he didn't take any offense at all to Trump. Highlighting support from African Americans came up again, though, when he retweeted a supporter who posted a photo of an African American family and the caption, "American Families for Trump." But according to an interview with BuzzFeed, the people in the photo are not Trump supporters, and they are not happy.
What's this all mean, Mark Alpern? All of this combined, all of this
There's
racist
a Google angle to this story.
all put
It's
together.
taken out.
The notion that you can unite the party, let alone the country, saying things that are like this, that are just, again, fundamentally un-American, to say a judge can't be fair because of his heritage, to say a judge can't be fair because of his or her religion, is making him, as you said, someone who may not be able to win even close in this election. And the fact that Newt Gingrich, who wants to be on the ticket and who's a history of statements like this, can be amongst a chorus of Republicans, not one person coming to his defense, is testament to the fact that the guy
does not want to win.
It just doesn't understand what it would take, not just to win, but to be fit to be considered for the office. Hillary Clinton.
We'll lose this.
Hillary Clinton and Newt Gingrich don't agree on much, but they agree that statements like this are well beyond out of bounds. And I think, as I said, anything he wants to build with donors, a coalition to support, and if he won to govern, it's not even in play with statements like this.
Nicole? What does it mean about our Republican Party?
Well, listen, so our voters picked him, and it means that our Republican Party and our leaders better go figure out why. You know, what were the good pieces of him? What was the part of his message that our voters responded to overwhelmingly? Because he didn't win in a squeaker. He roared to the nomination, and he had revealed his colors. He had denigrated women. He had denigrated Muslims. He had made racist comments. And that wasn't the reason he won, but they overlooked those things because the power of the rest of the message captured their imaginations and spoke to them.
I can tell you, my brother, who I've been talking about all along.
Oh, my gosh, your brother has been obsessed with him.
Who's been the biggest supporter of him. My brother is scratching his head
So
going,
my parents
you know what they're saying? They're saying, I fought you all along. I don't understand what's happened over the past 2 weeks. He was going to be an alternate delegate up to the convention. He said, no way. I'm going to sit back and wait and see what happens. He is shocked. He feels betrayed, and he wants to know. He wants to know what Donald Trump is doing because you know what he's scared of more than anything? Hillary Clinton being president of the United States. And he's basically saying, if you didn't want to beat Hillary, you shouldn't have won the nomination.
Right. Right. My parents, I think, like your brother, and I think you got to give his supporters the benefit of the doubt. Donald Trump is running an ugly campaign, but his supporters were hoping for something better. And he's showing incredible disdain and disrespect for his base of support. He doesn't, I mean, he cares more than he should about what we say, but it's never been about what we say, right? I mean, he roared to the nomination with people attacking his comments, his temperament, his lack of knowledge, his comments about getting his information about the military from the shows. We have pointed all these things out. His supporters were immune to that. But what they are not immune to is his trajectory, which is that he has gone from someone that they could pin their hopes on to someone that they're embarrassed of.
But I think while some of the things he said that many people were outraged by were ignored by some of his supporters, I think your brother is representative. I can't imagine an American who would agree with Donald Trump and saying a judge from Indiana who's got Mexican heritage can't be trusted to judge fairly in the best interest of the law. I'd be surprised if that got 2% support.
To a lot of people, no matter where you sit, is that he is now the Republican nominee. And you are looking at him now not as a guy who's got a movement going for whatever reason, but you're offering him to be president. I mean, we started when we talked about Ali, and I was 12, 13 years old. When I was 13, George Wallace ran for president, but he never approached being president. You're talking about this guy is being held up by the Senate Majority Leader and the Speaker of the House to be the president. So the ramifications of everything he says takes on a whole nother kind of
I hope Paul Ryan, I hope Mitch McConnell, anybody who's endorsed him understands they've just endorsed that. They've just endorsed a person who has said those things and believes those things. And if you believe that person should be president and you believe your endorsement should stand, good luck looking in the mirror this morning.
If he's not besieged by people today telling him he needs to apologize and take it back, then he doesn't have good advisors.
I mean, give him 2 hours, and if he doesn't, take back the endorsement or you have no spine.
By the way, anybody that endorsed him, please save your crocodile tears for somebody else. Don't act shocked and stunned and deeply saddened. You knew what you were endorsing. You knew about the Muslim ban.
You got nothing in return.
You called out for it. And as Mika said, he's going to give you nothing in return but more of this.
You should have gotten something.
You stand
That's called the art of the deal.
Unless you stand down. You've been suckered.